Hi, this is Matthew Williams on YouTube, and I'm joined with a Circlemaker. I'll let him introduce himself, whether he wants to be anonymous or not, and I'll hold the microphone up to the speaker so you can hopefully hear him. So, anonymous Circlemaker from Belgium, who are you, and what do you want to be known as?
Hi Matthew, this is Tommy from Belgium, and I've been a circle maker for like 8 years now.
Right. Okay. We were gonna talk a little bit about. You were saying you had some interesting stories about some circles researchers. Janet Ossebard was one I was going to do a little thing on myself. So, but do you want to start off? Do you want to sort of do the first bit, or shall I?
Well, maybe I can start the story here. I was making circles in Belgium, like 9 or 10, I guess, and then she was interested to come to Belgium to visit the circles and investigate. And so I said yes, Janet, come over and we'll go together to the circles. And then she wandered off with me into the fields, and she looked around and, oh, it's genuine, and I can feel the energy. And then the farmer came also visiting the circle, and then she was talking to the farmer saying it was from God, and then that it was a present that was specially for the farmer because it appeared in his field.
Yeah, they tend to say that sort of thing a lot, don't they? The crop circle researchers. I mean, I've had it in circles that I've done. I know, they'll come out with all sorts of amazing tales of being healed and things. I mean, I don't know whether if people are being healed, I don't mind that so much because I think, well, that's a positive thing. But it's all these other things like it's come from God. It's very hard to prove that. I mean, what's your feelings on that?
Well, yeah, the thing is, when you ask Janet the question, why she's thinking that the circles are genuine, and then she just replies, well, I can feel that. And I was like, what? So,
Yeah.
apart from that, she's writing in her articles that she has really good evidence that the circles are genuine. But then, if she's saying things like that, then she's shooting her own foot.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to prove, isn't it? Really. I mean, you can say UFOs make crop circles, but I mean, there's just anecdotal evidence for this at the moment, and I mean, we know that people have faked footage to meet the needs of the researchers. So, um, I'll tell you a little story about Janet. Then this was going to go in my pricks and stalkers section, but I'll probably just keep it as a special one because I'm chatting to you now. But basically, I saw Janet in what's known as the silage pit near Eastfield, which is a little area that has some hay bales and stuff stored, and people tend to pull off the road and look at the Eastfield crop circles when they appear. And Janet just happened to be there, and I pulled up to look at the crop circle that was in the field, and I got out of the car and I was sort of stretching and having a look, and I saw it was Janet, and I went, "Oh, hello," and she just sort of saw me and looked horrified, as the researchers tend to do, and I said, "Oh, so what are you doing then?" She said, "Oh, well, I'm looking at the circle," and I said, "Okay," and I said, "Oh, look, I've got my stomper boards in the boot of my car. Would you like to see them?" And she said, "No, I don't want to see them." And I said, "Well, just out of interest, these are the stomper boards that we use if you're interested at all." And she said, "No, no, I'm not." And I went, "Okay, fair enough." Now then, I went back to the barge, and I was starting to hear people saying, "Oh, Janet Osbard reckons that she's been accosted by Matthew Williams, who tried to force her to look at the stomper boards in the back of his car." Now, I mean, that just twists it round from being an innocent situation where I say, "Would you like to see my stomper boards?" into being, he tried to force her, and it's almost like as if I've got her by the neck, and I'm sort of like dragging her across the floor, by a hair, and I'm going, "You're going to see these stomper boards, Janet Ossebard," and it's just like anything to demonize the circle makers and make them seem like bad guys, and people like Janet, they're so quick to come out with all these stories about why the circles are made by God and all these sorts of things that you can't prove. And then when it actually comes down to it, if you have a personal interaction with somebody like that, and then they exaggerate things out of all proportion, and then it makes you think, well, do I really like these people? Do I really trust these people? It's like my only interaction with her has told me that she's loopy. If she's telling people that I tried to force her. Go on then. Have you got any more interesting stories about Janet?
Yeah, sure. To me, it's quite clear the reason why she's um, telling these stories, because she wants to keep people like looping in circles. Like they never get to the truth, and she always tells like, well, this is genuine, this is genuine. But in the other way, she's asking for a tour like hundreds of pounds, like over 600 or 700 pounds for a tour.
Mm.
And I think that's the way to keep people um, um, sorry.
Keep this mystery alive, and then
Yeah,
make a bit of money out of it, and all that sort of thing. But that's how they all operate, really, isn't it? I mean, without being nasty, in whether these people are doing it genuinely believing that the circles are made by something else, or whether they know that a lot of the circles are made by people. I mean, the effect is still the same. If they know that a circle is made by people, they'll often not put this fact out. Like uh, Francine Blake, knew that one very prominent crop circle was made for a lesbian wedding, and she told people at a conference after she knew this. She'd met the farmer. The farmer had said he'd been paid for. There were photographs taken. The people were there in the morning before any crop circle researchers. These people were in there having their wedding ceremony, and so she knew this was a man-made circle, and she went telling everybody at her conference that this circle was definitely genuine. And you've got people like that. They're not only trying to keep the mystery alive, they're quite prepared to sort of what I would say is lie. Hide the facts. What do you think about that?
well, that's the same case with Janet Ossebard also. To just keep telling myths and lies to keep the money rolling. That's
Well,
why.
yeah. I mean, I wonder if these people are genuinely empowered. They really do believe. That that's the thing you can never really be sure about, is it? Whether these people are sincere and they do believe it, or whether or not they whether they don't. But I mean, this still doesn't answer the question. I mean, even if somebody genuinely believes that paranormal things make the crop circles, I mean, how can you explain something like knowing a circle was made for a reason, and then not telling anybody about it, saying no, 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 I know nothing about this. This is a genuinely mysterious circle. That's what I can't get over with the researchers. You know, Bert Jansen, who's Janet's ex-husband, he said to me that he thought I was a complete liar. He said, "Oh yes, you are just a complete liar, Matthew." And he was like so sort of assured of himself. "Oh yeah, so we know you just lie," and it's like, well, why am I gonna waste all this time and effort trying to tell people that we're making crop circles, which we've shown we can do? Why would we go to all that time and effort, just to sort of perpetuate a lie? We don't make any money out of it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that was kind of the reason that I later came over to visit the circles, to just be sure what her intentions were.
So
And
you were interested in finding out what she was about, yeah?
yeah,
And did she actually know that you were a circle maker?
well, she does now.
She does now, but she didn't at the time.
Well,
She didn't.
like last summer, a friend from the UK um, told her that I was making circles, and I haven't heard anything from her then. So I'm pretty sure she knows about it now.
Right. Okay. So yeah, she hasn't been in contact with you since then, basically. Okay, should we go on? I'll tell you what. I'll finish this recording and we can go on to another one then. Hang on a sec.